Abortion fits into the same category as it was common in biblical times. In the year 1140, the Pope declared that abortion was acceptable, but only under certain conditions. This was the law in the Catholic Church until 1917. The question was, at what moment does the soul enter the fetus? The answer to that question determined the abortion regulations by the Church.
One big reason for the growth of Christianity was that they were against abortion and its twin practice, infanticide, which is real common. What, another girl, toss her out with the garbage tomorrow. Well, the Christians didn't do this for whatever reason, and they kept them. Yeah, they had more mouths to feed, but it also meant they had more girls to marry off to pagans, which they did, and the guys would then get converted. And so one of the big reasons Christianity grew was that they kept the girls alive and had missionary marriage, so to speak.
Abortion was permitted up to 40 days after conception under certain circumstances.
The belief in resurrection was a common belief in biblical days.
You'll remember that passage where Herod wonders if Jesus was the reincarnation of John the Baptist. Well, he didn't know any better, but those two were cousins and lived at the same time, so that could hardly be so. But the point is that it was common in those days, in many religions, of the notion of resurrection, and in many, many other beliefs, different cultures in those days about the whole notion of reincarnation, as it is prevalent quite a bit today.
And that also appears in Judaism, but a bit later. And it may already be in there in the Gospel of John, where in chapter 9 they see this blind beggar. Everybody knows he's born blind, and they ask Jesus, tell me, was this guy born blind because of his own sins or those of his parents? That really has to mean reincarnation has crept in via Hellenism there.
The talk is frowned upon by the churches because of such notions outside of the story about Jesus would detract from the uniqueness of the resurrection.
Celibacy in itself is an interesting concept.
There's nothing in Scripture that provides for celibacy, nothing.
Celibacy has a very complicated history. But no, celibacy as a church doctrine probably developed after the Council of Nicaea for the most part.
The Dead Sea Scrolls exalted celibacy. You didn't have to be celibate, but that was the elite way to go. And Josephus says it was because they wanted to just keep their minds on God the whole time.
Priests were permitted to be married up to 1139 AD, until the Church decided to enforce celibacy at the Second Lateran Council.